knowing about the oneness of Allah. So we go through the 5 pillars, and the first pillar is really the belief in Allah. Who is Allah? How do we worship Allah? What are the names and attributes of Allah? How do we avoid committing shirk? Very simply, what is Tawheed? Very, very simply, excluding the 3 elements I've mentioned to you before, in regards to the oneness of His names and attributes, the oneness of worship, the oneness of worship, lordship, it comes down to, it's the opposite of shirk. Do you know what shirk is?
Shirk is faithlessness. Yeah?
Close. It's making partners with Allah. It's the opposite of Tawheed.
Right.
So worshipping other than Allah, giving the divine attributes to anyone other than Allah. And I just want to recall a quick experience I had when I was in my school, secondary school. My kind of disconnect from religion came from RE. I had an atheist back in the days. There was a big push that the best person to teach RE would be
Not me.
not you. Best person to teach RE is someone who doesn't have faith. And I think that's just very strange.
Say that again, sorry. Best person to teach RE?
Is the neutral person,
Yeah, no.
the person who doesn't have faith, who's an atheist. And I found that they were asking me profound questions, and I'm like, I don't know the answer, which made me question my faith, rather than making me have an understanding of religion, because I don't think atheists are neutral. I think they have their bias towards
Atheists
atheism.
are not neutral.
Thank you. Thank you.
They like to say they're neutral, but they're not neutral. It's a very distinct mindset,
Yeah.
very distinct worldview, and it is as much a religion as any theistic religions are.
Definitely, and I think has the West England, they've moved away from having atheists teaching RE, or because again I'm going back.
I wish they would. We still have atheists teaching RE, and I don't think it's.
Do you have guest
good.
speakers from different faiths to actually talk
Not
about
as often as I would like.
But that's part of it. Because
Yeah.
I think it's nice, going to other faith places. So I sincerely appreciate your time. Have you ever I know you had a conversation previously. Did anyone offer you a translation of the Quran?
Yeah, they did. I already have a translation of the Quran. Probably not the one you've got, but I already have one.
No, you'd be surprised. Because honestly speaking, I think it's interesting, the preservation of the Quran. Do you know about the Birmingham manuscript? Birmingham manuscript is in Birmingham we have carbon dated Qurans in the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad. It's
Oh
quite
wow,
interesting.
yeah, that's impressive.
And then it's and I feel that's the kind of elements, because you know what Hafiz is, right?
What?
Hafiz, someone who's memorized the Quran.
Oh yeah. The last school that I was at, there was a boy who was learning that. Working towards that.
Yeah. And
His parents were so incredibly proud of him because it's such a big thing to do.
I know several people who have memorized the Quran, word for word, letter for letter, in Arabic, and I think it's one of those things that highlights something that the culture and the heritage of Islam and
Because
the
the
preservation.
Quran was spoken before it was ever written. It's not
Definitely.
like the Christian Gospels, which were written down to be what they were written down. The Quran is meant to be spoken. It's meant to be heard, and so I can see the value of somebody actually learning to recite it, because that's as close as you can get to how it was in the beginning. I think that's an incredible thing to do. I genuinely think it's really impressive, and it takes so much time and so much faith and so much commitment to do that.
Oh, thank you, very kind. I'm conscious of time.
Yeah.
I want to quickly ask your experience of Christianity and why Christianity, as someone who has a good understanding of other faiths or teaches
Why
other faiths.
Christianity? Basically because I grew up in a I wouldn't say I had a Christian family, but growing up in England at the time that I did, Christianity was the dominant religion. If you wanted to do any youth clubs and things, they were all at churches. I started going to the church because I was in the Girls' Brigade, and seeing the people and seeing the faith and seeing their commitment to God and to each other, in the end, that was what held me. That's why I believed myself. And it's why, even though I've had journeys outside of faith in my life, that's the one that I always come back to, because that's where I started from.
I've got a question for you. Jesus Christ, God or sent by God?
Wow, there's a question I can't. For me, as a Christian, I believe that Jesus Christ is God the Son, God who came in a human form, and I'm going to always believe that. But I think there are a lot of people. Can I just finish? There are a lot of people who don't believe that. There are a lot of people who believe that Jesus was a man who was sent by God. There are even people within the Christian orbit who think that Jesus was a man who was sent by God. But whichever you take, what is more important than the fact or otherwise of whether Jesus is divine is what he said, what he taught, what he wanted people to do and believe, and to treat other people with respect and compassion and love and generosity. And the teachings of Jesus, for me, are what's most important, more than the whole salvation and all the rest of that stuff. What Jesus taught is applicable to everybody, whether you actually believe in him or not. So
that's a very interesting point, and I believe it's unique, and I respect that position, because often a lot of people go into salvation and the blood sacrifice rather than actually let's follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. So I'm going to hold you to that, which was the point I wanted to ask you for clarity on, because you said God the Son.
yeah.
I don't think there's any biblical reference for ever being God the Son. There's Son, the Son of God, but not God the Son.
You are absolutely right. And the doctrine of the Trinity, which calls Jesus God the Son, it was developed in the 4th century AD,
Yep.
thereabouts, and is not found in that form in Scripture. There is talk about incarnation of God becoming human, but no, the phrase God the Son was developed in the
So why would you
4th
say?
century.
How would you substantiate your belief that Jesus Christ is God?
It's just
Through the statements of Jesus Christ, because
it's not
you're telling me about what Jesus Christ taught. We should follow what Jesus Christ has taught. So I would argue, and again, this is a very layman position.
Because Jesus says, "For God so loved the world, he gave his only Son."
Only begotten
himself,
Son, yeah.
His only begotten Son, meaning himself. So that's what he means. And I know in Islam, you can't, God begetteth not and is not begotten.
We're going to leave that to one side.
I understand that you can't accept that. But do I understand it? No, I don't. Do I accept it? Yes, I do. I don't have to understand everything.
It's not about understanding. It's about Jesus Christ's teaching. Because even if I think contemporary scholars backed by 50 denomination of churches actually took out that verse, John 16:3,
3:16.
3:16, yeah, thank you. saying as a concoction, as in it's a
It's
So
tricky, isn't it? Because when I was studying theology, we did this thing about how can we be sure that Jesus' sayings were authentic? That he said what we say he said, and it wasn't made up by the church. And they came to the conclusion with all these things that there were like 16 things which they were absolutely sure that Jesus probably said. Okay.
Absolutely sure that he probably said it.
Yeah. So you get that thing, but my feeling is
Out of those 16 things, is any of it claiming divinity? Because even if we went with Jesus Christ, God so loved the world, sent his only begotten Son,
no,
it doesn't make him divine.
That one doesn't make the cut.
Yeah.
And I don't think there aren't many doctrines that do make doctrinal statements that do make the cut, because they could have been made up by the church and put back.
So are we following the teachings of Jesus Christ? The fundamental teachings? Because even there's a sign that quotes the Bible, quotes the Old Testament, quotes the Quran, and I think that's the same message in regards to Mark 12:29, where Jesus Christ was asked,
the thing with this verse here, the only one God thing.
Yep.
That one doesn't make the cut either, because that can have come from earlier. So anything that can definitely have been.
So even though it's red letter, it doesn't make the cut.
Even anything which could have come from before or may have been put in afterwards doesn't make the cut. So, but
Who decided the cut, by the way? Sorry,
it's done by a whole bunch of scholars. But
have some more water.
My feeling is this: that the people who made the Gospels, the people who wrote the Scriptures, were not trying to pull a fast one. They were not trying to deceive people. They weren't trying to lead people astray. What they were trying to do was to lead people to what they believed was the ultimate truth. So these were people who may have got things wrong, but were acting in good faith. And I think that's enough for me.
Because I don't want to speculate in regards to the intentions. Because I think it's a key point you made in regards to following the teachings of Jesus Christ. So what would you say is the core teachings of Jesus Christ?
Love God, love your neighbour as yourself. That's it in 2 sentences. That's what Jesus said was his teaching in 2 sentences.
2 questions for you, quite deep in theology. Can God have a God? And can God have limited knowledge?
Those are heavy questions. Can God have a God? God is his own God. So
God isn't his own God. God is God.
God is God.
So he wouldn't have a God.
There will be no other God. So God is God.
Because it's blaspheming statement. God having a God doesn't make sense. It's a contradicting statement, and I agree with you. And the other question in regards to, can God lack in knowledge or have limited knowledge?
I don't think so.
Because God knows all. Thank you very much.
I would genuinely love to stay and talk to you all day, because this has been fascinating.
So I just got my phone out very quickly to give you reference where Jesus Christ said that I must leave you now to your Father, to my Father, to your God and to my God. And Jesus Christ himself didn't know when the hour was. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And anytime you're passing through, please do feel free to talk to us. I've really enjoyed your insight and your time.
It's been really interesting talking to you. So
take care.
Not strong enough for a crunch. Can I give you a mini one?
No,
She has a copy.
I already have a copy.
She's in the process of studying.
How did you find it?
I think she needs to go, so we need to respect that.
Because I stopped her before we stopped her. So
Yeah.
Come back for desserts, you know? Come back for...
Madam,
You know
thank you so
what?
much.
I come this way often. I'm sure I'll speak to you again.
Would you like a leaflet?
So we never
Take care, madam.
deceive, we never deceive. We always
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time, and we're just going a little bit of recording there. Unless you understand Bengali, the brother was speaking Bengali. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you all, and yeah, make dua for the teacher, her hidayat, because she's talking about few interesting things, and I find it interesting that she left when we was going to go into more of the statements of Jesus Christ, and herself agreed that God cannot have a God. God must have all knowledge, and Jesus Christ showed that he didn't know when the hour was, nor and the fact that he has a God. So that's worth noting. So thank you all, and may Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That is why God became a man, but without sin.
Yeah, it's called hasty generalization.